It's been 6 years since the BC government declared a state of emergency because of toxic drugs that has taken the lives of 7,700 British Columbians.
Despite our government investing in addiction treatment and prevention at an unprecedented level, despite this and more, we have lost thousands of lives.
On June 21st, 2019, Glenn Rebick, who lived with his mother in Vancouver, went out to go visit some friends and never returned. His mother, Meredith Dan, called police after Glenn still hadn't returned after 2 days. She filed a police report with the Vancouver Police Department.
The last thing I said to him was, have fun and be safe.
On June 25th, Meredith received news about her son.
We saw that there was a police car outside the apartment, but it had been sitting there for like a half an hour, 45 minutes. And so we, weren't sure what it was for. And sure enough, it was the 2 police officers and victim services who were coming to deliver the next of kin notification. Without any preface, she said to me, well, first of all, Glenn is dead. And I just went down. My knees gave out. I went down. My knees caught me. And then when I regained my composure, I got up and I just yelled at her, you need to work on your delivery.
She later found out that at 2:13 a.m. on June the 22nd, 2019, her son, Glenn Rebick, accidentally overdosed and passed away after accepting a line of what he thought was cocaine, but turned out to be laced with fentanyl.
I miss him. Every single day I wake up, and for a brief second, I think he's sleeping on the couch, and then the reality that he's not here hits me. But for a brief second, I have hope that he's not really gone.
Glenn was an avid skateboarder and was well known and respected in the skate community. His mother says that when he saw him on his board, he was happy, free, and living his best life, doing something that he loved. This memorial video shows him throughout the years as he grew up skateboarding. Glenn Rebick was just 29 years old when he passed away. According to the BC Chief Coroner, 6 people a day are dying in this province due to the toxic drug supply. Making matters worse, they're also discovering more drugs mixed with benzodiazepine, which naloxone, which is normally used to save lives, has no effect. Trey Helton is a former addict, but has now gotten sober. He's the manager of the Overdose Prevention Society in Vancouver's infamous downtown Eastside, and says more needs to be done to help.
There's lots of different options that need to be brought about. Safe supply is one of them. Detox on demand is something that I'd really like to see. If someone says, hey, you know what, I'm feeling done and I'd like to find a way out, they shouldn't have to wait 2 weeks to get into a detox center. They should be fast-tracked. It's just a very small window.
And BC is answering that plea for help. They are the first province in Canada to take a bold new step and have applied for an exemption from Health Canada under 56(1) of the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act to remove criminal penalties for people who possess small amounts of illicit drugs for personal use. Former BC Chief Coroner and current Senator Larry Campbell says the first step is removing the stigma for drug users and then wrapping around services to help them.
This is about keeping people alive. That's it. That's the bottom line. I'm proud that our province is leading in this. This is open to any jurisdiction in Canada, and I would invite them to join in on this. And I'm confident that the federal government will respond favorably.
Dennis Desjardins says that he began using drugs 12 years ago. The father of 5 says he lost his family because of his addiction and says he feels like there is no way out of this lifestyle.
I overdosed yesterday. And I just did like 1 dragon. and I dropped. My friends were walking by. They didn't even notice it was that quick and that easy, and I slid down the wall and dropped, right? So it's very toxic and powerful, like you said. I was not expecting that to happen at all. So.
And what happened? Did somebody bring you back in naloxone?
No, they called an ambulance, and the ambulance came in. Then they gave me Narcan and stuff, yeah, and they brought me out in emergency at St. Paul's. So.
You just got out of the hospital today?
Yeah.
And you're back down here again?
Yeah.
Will you be doing more drugs again today?
I already used it.
Does it not deter you that you just overdosed yesterday?
No, not at all. I know it should, but it doesn't really right now.
And like so many, Dennis says he feels helpless to control his addiction.
Never to get involved with it, man. It is a horrible trap. Getting addicted to heroin is the most worst thing anybody could do. I wouldn't wish it upon my enemies. So I love my wife and my children, and that was like the majorest loss today. Could have lost is my life.
Meredith Dan says she feels that the painful effects of residential schools and the intergenerational trauma has a lot to do with addictions. BC Chief Coroner Lisa Lapointe says they are open to trying alternatives to save lives.
It is killing people at an alarming rate. So is it going to be a perfect model? I don't think so. But I don't think we need to look for perfect right now.
In 2021, 1,782 people died of toxic overdoses. Over 71% of those were aged 30 to 59 years old, and 79% of those were men. For Meredith Dan, she continues to struggle daily with the loss of her son, including how she was told about his death. She filed an official complaint about how the Vancouver police officer delivered the death notification of her son, and the final investigation report said the officer did nothing wrong.
Coming into my home, she could have said, Miss Dan, you might want to sit down. We're here, we've got some bad news. You know, like had some compassion or understanding that she was ruining my life in that moment. But for her to say, first of all, Glenn is dead, was wrong.
And just as we were finishing this interview, a special guest appeared.
Oh my God. There's my boy.
And back on the streets, Dennis Desjardins says everything has changed since fentanyl and carfentanil entered the scene.
It's different. It's not even the same game. It's a different game altogether.
How many friends have you lost down here?
Too many to count.
The federal government has not yet approved BC's request for that exemption. The Vancouver Police did not respond to our request for an interview. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.